At harm. I am Supergirl.
Hey guys, just finished watching Supergirl, Season 4, Episode 17, all about Eve. Wow, what an interesting episode. Although the title is a little bit kind of, there's been the whole episode looking for Eve, but it's not really about Eve. I thought it was going to go into her kind of her history and her backstory and stuff, and showing her kind of being all a part of Lex Luthor and stuff, which we did see a little bit last episode with when we saw the first appearance of Lex Luthor and stuff, and seeing him kind of his backstory and how he was he tricked everyone to get powers and stuff like that. But which I'm kind of glad we dive into again, doing into Eve's history, because we're getting close to the end of the season. We only have a few more episodes left, like 5 episodes left, episode 17, and we have 22. So we have about another 5 episodes left. Exactly, so that's really going to be interesting to see as to where things go. So we start off this episode. One of the first things that kind of caught me off guard, didn't make sense to me, is Colonel Haley. Supergirl shows up with donuts at the DEO. Colonel Haley straight up just lets Alex work with Supergirl, and that's, it just seemed like, why, out of nowhere. Now I get the idea where they wanted to go with her. They wanted to make her kind of, trust Supergirl a little bit, so at the end she could trust her, and that line that she said at the end of the episode. But it's like, it didn't make sense as to why she was letting Alex work with Supergirl. She's told Alex not to work with Supergirl. They've gone so far as to wipe Alex's memory so that, she would stop looking for, trying to figure out who Supergirl is. And it seems like we've completely forgotten that storyline of Colonel Haley trying to figure out Supergirl's identity, because the President really wants to find that out. And we've completely kind of discarded and thrown that storyline out of the way, just so we could have Alex not know who who Supergirl is. And now it's getting to the point where it's just like, why doesn't Alex, can't she just be told again that Supergirl is, Kara is Supergirl type thing? Because we haven't seen Colonel Haley do anything in terms of trying to figure out who Supergirl is, We've seen, ever since the mind-wiping episode, we haven't seen anything about that. So it's just like, and we've seen her a bunch of times, and she's never really even trying to look into that. So it's just kind of like, where's that storyline going? And they completely forgot about that storyline. So that's just kind of a bit weird, and kind of a bit frustrating there. We see Brainiac gets his brain back. That was really interesting. We see Marin comes back in like a memory, vision thing with John Jones and stuff. And that's kind of interesting, because he ends up, he's all frustrated, not sure what to do and stuff. And at the end of the episode, he ends up just kind of leaving without even saying goodbye to anyone. And it's going to be it sounds like it's going to be a long journey, since he's using his car to fly away type thing, which is interesting. I don't know why he didn't kind of say anything when he left. That was kind of very weird. And did he even how soon did he leave? Did he even see, what the news coverage of Supergirl type thing, before he left and stuff? I guess not, because he would have not left so early, or at least without saying goodbye type thing, and saying, I know you're having this troubled time, but I gotta leave, I gotta do this type thing. But now he just left without even finding or doing anything. So that's going to be interesting to see as to whenever he leaves, whenever he does come back, if he comes back in a couple of seasons or whatever, end of next season, what is going to be or hopefully he's back for the Crisis on Infinite Earth next season, because he needs to be a part of that. But hopefully whenever he does come back, he's like, Carl's maybe mad at him for leaving without even without even saying goodbye. And even though she's Supergirl, she's always giving people the benefit of the doubt. There's no way that she could even forgive him, or even begin to forgive him, without just because he just left because of his emotions are in a turmoil. Whereas now she's public enemy number 1, and he wasn't even there for her, right? Like, that's going to be an interesting kind of. It has to be hard on the relationship between the two, at least for Supergirl. Even though she's kind of always giving everyone the benefit of the doubt, always apologizing to people and never holding a grudge. This has to be do something to the relationship, because he just left without saying goodbye, not even something saying, "Hey, I'm going off to space for a long time, bye." Not even that, not even a quick text, a phone call, something before he took off, So that was kind of a bit weird. We see Supergirl ends up apologizing to Lena for blaming her for giving Lex powers, since Lex did all that stuff. So that was kind of interesting that that kind of part there was kind of interesting. Then there's a new Metallo, which was okay. You know, the look looked good. He looked kind of good and stuff, but at the same time, the CGI looked kind of terrible on him. So, you know, it was like, okay, another one-off Metallo. Maybe Lex Luthor is trying to build up to a Metallo, and I think that could be something interesting, you know. And eventually, maybe the end of next season, if we keep Lex Luthor throughout that next season, which I think we should, because only like a handful of episodes at the end here is kind of not enough for Lex Luthor. He needs a full season, you know, or being a recurring villain for a long time, forever, right? I think that's what I'd like to see, and maybe later on we could see him do a better version of Metallo, you know, because we know these shows can do better CGI when they've proven it with King Shark and Gorilla Grodd. So they just need to put that much amount of detail and time into Metallo and make him kind of extremely interesting. Someone who's bigger than Supergirl and stuff, and really get him to be, you know, King Shark size, and it would be really interesting to see. You see the Alien Amnesty Act is repealed and stuff, so that was interesting. It's clear that Lex Luthor kind of, you know, influenced the senator who was kind of going to vote against it type thing, so that was kind of interesting there. And then we see when she's revealing that on the news, the Eve Tessmacher in the background, she's like in disguise, she's like a face changer, appearance changer, and it happens to glitch out right when everyone's watching her on news. And it's just like, oh my god, that just kind of pissed me off, because it's just like, what are the odds of that actually happening while she's on screen, you know, and only Supergirl notices that? I mean, only Supergirl and her people watching it. No one of the other people, you know, all the news people in the room going, oh my god, that was Eve Tessmacher, you know, she's all over the news, you know, being all over the news everywhere, being looking as a criminal, you know, she's one of the most wanted people right now, you know, so it's just kind of a bit silly as to, you know, how that went down, and as to, you know, why would she have an full of people around her? Usually when they do these events, and they do it later on with the president at the end, when he announces that Supergirl is martial law, it's just the president, you know. Yeah, she might have some security guards next to her type thing, okay. They're just going to be just out of camera, you know, a few feet out of the frame, so that you're not even going to be able to see who they are, you know, or see them. So it just didn't make sense that, you know, whoever Eve Tessmacher was playing and pretending to be, you know, she could get some information, get some dirt on the senator and stuff. Why would she be in that shot for, you know, while she's while she's on screen, you know, for the news type thing? It wouldn't make sense. She might be just out of feet if she's pretending to be her assistant or whatever. She might just be just behind the curtains, or just out of frame, you know, on the side, not directly in frame in the press coverage. It just didn't make sense to me whatsoever. And then we see Lex Luthor ends up killing. We see that Lex Luthor was going to kill his mother and type thing. That was interesting. So Lena uses that to try and get some information out of her, because she must know something that's, you know, a reason for him to go after and kill his mother type thing. So I think that's interesting. And we see Lex Luthor sends his Supergirl to attack the White House, and Supergirl is, you know, she finds she ends up getting trapped in the Lex Luthor and the Lex mega suit type thing that he has, and that was an interesting idea, but it just kind of, the way it worked out is like, it didn't make sense to me. It's because, yeah, there's a bit of kryptonite in that, but it just kind of, it didn't make sense that she would be able to she'd be stuck in there, not be able to do anything to stop it. And yeah, she did break out of it by the end of it, which I think was a good, interesting idea. What I would have done, I think it would have been a lot more interesting, and a lot more kind of, especially with Eve Tessmacher, her being there, actually have Eve Tessmacher there, and, you know, when when Supergirl rips open the door, Eve Tessmacher has a big necklace chain with a huge piece of kryptonite, or even synthetic kryptonite, whatever, but a huge kind of chunk of kryptonite type thing that she could have put over Supergirl, just like in the Superman Christopher Reeve movie, when Lex Luthor had a huge ball of kryptonite that he put over Superman, and Eve Tessmacher was the one that kind of took it off of him so he could go after the two missiles back in that movie. So I think that would have been an interesting callback, doing it that way, having Eve Tessmacher put that on her, and it'd be a big one, recreating that prop from that movie type thing. I think that would have been really an interesting, a little bit more callback than having her put on the Lex Luthor suit, which would just kind of, it just didn't sell it to me that she would be stuck in that. Yeah, there's a little bit of kryptonite, but it wouldn't be enough to really kind of keep her down when, you know, everything's going on like that. And she would just be able to break out of it earlier. Whereas a huge chunk of kryptonite, that would just weigh her straight down, and she would have no, you know, ways to doing it type thing. And I think that would have been an interesting way. And even could have been like a little bit of technology kryptonite type thing, like where it's kind of powering, and maybe it kind of runs out of power, and then she's able to get away with it without it. I think that would have been a more interesting way. Or you could have had her with the whole kryptonite thing on, and then James runs by and takes it off of her and throws it away, right? That would have worked better, in my opinion. So I can't wait to see as to where things go with this, especially with the next episode titled, I think the next episode is Public Enemy or type thing. I think that's going to be interesting to see as to where things go with that. I just really hope that this whole Public Enemy storyline really lasts a long time. I'd like to see it go into next season, because just playing it with 5 episodes left, her being Public Enemy, that seems boring to me, and that just seems like repetitive of things we've done before. Oh, now she's evil, and then it kind of goes nowhere. I mean, when she was infected with red kryptonite, it only lasted an episode, and then 1 or 2 episodes later, and then a couple episodes later, by like 10 episodes later, everyone's completely forgotten about it, and it's kind of moved on. Never ever happened. So now, we've had the red kryptonite of her going bad. We've had there was an episode a while back where we had Bizarro. All the different times that people have been, all of a sudden their trust in Supergirl has just gone out of nowhere. So at this time, it really needs to kind of drag it out, and never want the public to know that there are 2 Supergirls. If the public ever finds out, oh, there was this fake Supergirl and that's what it is, then it kind of completely defeats the whole storyline. So I need to see this. I'd even like to see Lex Luthor at some point kill off his Supergirl and just straight up kill off the Red Daughter, so that we don't need the fight between Supergirl and the Red Thing. We've seen it a lot of time when she fights Superman, Zod, and all that stuff in the first season with her aunt there. Can't think of her name, but we've seen her fight Kryptonian versus Kryptonian. We've seen that a long time, right? So we don't need to see another fight with the Red Daughter. But if Lex Luthor ends up killing off the Red Daughter, then, there's no proof out there, and, to prove that it wasn't actually Supergirl, and she just has to win people's trust back very, very slowly and spend the next entire season, if not the next 2 seasons, slowly winning back people's trust. I think that could be a really interesting idea, is not winning back people's trust until the next, this time next season, the end of next season. And then we go into season 6 with the people the public beginning to slowly trust her. That's how I really want to see as to where things go. I really want this Public Enemy thing to stay throughout the entirety of next season. I think that's really where things would get super interesting for this show. So I definitely can't wait to see as to where things go with this. It definitely seems like James is going to be getting some powers, since everyone else who's taken the serum that he took, is getting powers and stuff. It's just weird that he's not getting powers as soon as everyone else. I mean, we don't know how long Eve's sister or aunt, how long she's had the serum inside of her, but it looked like Lex Luthor got the powers right away. So I'd imagine that, her sister, she might have taken it after Lex took it, since he would have wanted to take it himself first, and then later on make another version for her aunt type thing, or maybe she was dying early. So we don't know if she might have been one of the first people to try an early prototype, but we'll have to wait and see as to where things go. And, James should be showing signs of powers now. It just seems kind of weird that just because he's a main character, his powers are not developing as fast as everyone else who's taken the exact same serum type thing. So hopefully they can explain something with that later on. So let me know what you think, guys, about this in the comments below. What do you think about this episode? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes subscribing is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.